Hello, my dear class 6 students. Welcome back. So today we'll continue the part 2 for chapter 7, that is getting to know plants. Okay, and you can refer page 52 to 64. Okay, you'll find this chapter in your NCERT textbooks, page 52 to 64. So you can mark the important points in the textbook as well. So we have completed root system. Okay, we are studying the parts of plant and we have completed the root system, and today we'll complete the other three parts, that is the stem, flower and leaf. Okay, so now let's start with the stem. Okay, stem. Now you all know about the stem, about the plant, but let's study how important this stem is in the plant. Okay, now this stem, it bears. Okay, stem bears. In any plant, the stem bears the what? Bears the leaves, flower, branches, and fruits, right? So stem plays a very important role. It bears the leaves, the flower, the fruits, the branches. Clear? Now the second important one that we are going to discuss is it carries, okay, stem. It carries, I'll write here, then I'll explain, okay. It carries the water and minerals to different parts of the plant. Clear? Now, stem, it carries water and minerals, okay, to different parts of the plant through a very special tube, okay, through a special tube that is known as xylem, okay, xylem. So this xylem is a special tube that is present inside the leaf. So suppose if this is a leaf, then the xylem will be, it is present inside the leaf, okay. So now we all know that the root absorb the water and mineral, right, from the soil. So once the root absorb the water and mineral, then it is transported to the stem, right. So from stem, with the help of this xylem, it will distribute to all the different parts of the plant, okay. So you please make note of this point, okay. Okay, so students, now the next point, okay, the next point will be it carries the food, okay. Now, do you know the kitchen, okay, for human being, the kitchen is a place where the food are prepared, right? Every morning it's busy. The kitchen is the busiest place in the morning and even in the evening for dinner, right? So same thing for plants, they prepare the food from the leaf, okay, from the leaf. So what happens once the food is prepared from the leaves? Okay, food is prepared from the leaf, but it has to transport to different parts of the plant, right? So now it happens with the help of the stem, okay? So stem, it carries the food. Clear? Stem, it carries the food to different parts of the plant, okay? To different parts of the plant through a special tube, another tube we have known as phloem. Phloem, phloem. Okay, so you have to remember very two special tubes present in the stem, that is xylem and phloem. Okay, now the role of xylem is it helps in the distribution of water and mineral. this plant, they also need water, they also need food, okay? So now the distribution take place like here, okay, from the stem. So inside the stem we have xylem and phloem. So xylem, it carries like with the help of xylem, water and mineral is transported, okay? Water and mineral is transported with the help of xylem. What about the food? Food is transported with the help of phloem, okay? And we find this xylem and phloem in the stem. Clear? So I'm sure you are clear with the points, with the functions of the stem. So these are the functions of the stem. Clear? So you make note of this point. We'll study more about the stem. Clear? Okay, so students, let's say this is the stem. Okay, let's say this is the stem. And then this is the root. Clear? This is the stem and this is the root. And just now I said that the root absorbs the soil. Okay, the root absorbs the water and mineral from the soil. So this is a soil, and then we have a root here, right? So now what does the root? It absorbs, okay, it absorbs the water and mineral from the soil, and then it goes up like, right? So from the stem, and from the stem it is distributed to different parts of the plant. But how it happens, okay? Now we have an experiment. We have an experiment in the textbook. So I'll show you, okay? We have an experiment in the textbook, so I'll show you. Now, you can also try this experiment at home, okay? You can also try this experiment at home. For this, you need a glass, okay? You need one glass, and then in that glass, you can fill one third of it, you can just fill the water. Clear? Now, I'm sure you have ink. Any color would do, okay? Any color of ink would do, okay? So what basically we are trying to do with this experiment is we are trying to prove how, like the water is collected from the stem, but how it goes up towards the stem to distribute different parts of the plant. Clear? So we are trying to show that one. So we need an ink, okay? Ink, any color would do, okay? So now we'll put some drops of ink in this water. Clear? So now we already have an ink here, okay? Now we'll take any leaves and we'll cut from the base, okay? So let's say this is a leaf, so I have cut it like from the stem, okay? From the base of the stem. And then after cutting it, I'll put here, okay? I'll put the leaf here. So this is our leaf here, okay? This is our leaf here. Okay, so now we'll keep it for at least like for one night. We'll just keep it and we'll see. Okay, so you take example that you are performing this example in the evening, and then you are going to observe the result in the next morning. Clear? So you are performing this in the evening, and in the next morning you are going to see the change, okay? So now, we are taking this leaf and we are done with the experiment. We are just waiting for the result. Now it's early morning. Now you want to see the results, okay? So what you will find is that all these leaves will turn to, let's say this ink is blue color, okay? Will turn to blue color. Clear? Even the flower will turn to blue color. Even the stem, will turn to blue color. Clear? This proves the upward movement of water, okay, in the stem, okay, upward movement of water in the stem, okay. This experiment is to prove the upward movement of water in the stem. And now, if you just take a blade, okay, you can just tell any of the elders to do, okay, because you have to be careful. If you take the blade and if you just cut the stem, and if you observe, then let's say, okay, you will observe the blue color even inside the vein, okay, blue color inside the vein. So this proves that stem, okay, stem helps in the upward movement of water. Clear? So I'm sure you are clear with the second one, okay. we have studied about the function of stems. We have discussed about the experiment, okay, that shows the upward movement of water. So make note of all the point. Next, we will study the third point, that is flower. Okay, we'll study about the flower. Okay, so students, next is the third point, that is flower. Okay, flower. So now, what is the definition of flower? Okay, so the definition for flower is, it is the reproductive, in simple word, okay, I'm giving a simple word, reproductive part of a plant. Part of a plant, okay. So this is where the reproduction takes place in plant, okay. So flower is a very important part in a plant because here the reproduction takes place. Clear? So now we'll study different parts in the flower, okay. So let's say this is a flower, okay. This is a flower. Let's say this is a flower, okay. Now in the flower, the color part of the flower, okay, the color part of the flower is known as petals, okay, petals. So let's say this is the petals. Let's say this is the color part, okay. So petals is the color part of the flower. Clear, students? Now the next one, do you see just below that, okay, in the outermost part, you will see a leaf-like structure, okay, a green leaf-like structure, a small, okay, I'll write a small green leaf-like structure that encloses the bud. This one, I'm talking about this one. If this is the petals, okay, if this is the petals, then just below that, if you see, okay, you will see a green color which is holding the flower. Clear? A green color which holds the flower, which holds the flower, and we call this one as sepals, okay, S-E-P-A-L-S. Don't get confused, students. Petals is the color part of the flower, and then sepals is the small green leaf-like structure that encloses the bud, okay. Small green leaf-like structure that encloses the bud, okay, and that is known as sepals. So I'm sure you are clear with these 2 points, okay. Now, okay, these two, the first two about the flower. We have now another important part, that is the male reproductive part and female reproductive part of the flower. Clear? Even a plant, they have a male reproductive part and a female reproductive part. So now how does it look like? Clear? So in the flower, if you observe in the middle, okay, if you just observe in the middle, then you will see like this, okay. You will see like this structure. Clear? So there is a difference between these three, right? Clear? So now this one is known as pistils, okay, P-I-S-T-I-L-S, pistils. Clear? And then this type, okay, this one is known as stamen. Now why this is very important? Because this is the male and female reproductive part. So students, the longer one, okay, the longer one is the male reproductive part, okay, for the plant. Male reproductive part of the plant. And then this one, okay, this one here is the female reproductive part of the flower, okay, for the plant, and that is known as pistils. So now, once again, let's quickly discuss about the points, parts of the flower: petals, sepals, pistils, that is the female part, and stamen, that is the male part. Okay, now we'll see how reproduction takes place in the flower. Okay, how reproduction takes place in the flower. Okay, so students, we're going to see how reproduction takes place in flower, okay, how fertilization takes place. So this is the pistil, okay. Now the pistil, it looks like this, okay. You'll have, in the upper part, we'll have stigma, okay, this is known as stigma. And then we have a tube like this, so this is known as style. Clear? And then we have a swollen part like this, that is known as ovary. Clear? So this is the detailed structure of pistils. That is the female part of the flower. Okay. Now what about the stamens? Stamens means we'll have the longer one like this here and then like this. So this is the anther. Okay, anther. This is anther, and then this is the filament. Filament. So this is the stamen. Stamen, this is the male, okay? Male reproductive part, and this is the female for the plant, okay? Now what happens is in this anther, they develop a pollen grain, okay? They develop a pollen grain. From this anther, they develop a pollen grain, means they develop a yellow powdery form. Have you observed that in the flower or not? In the middle, if you observe, they have this yellow, they release a yellow powdery form, okay? And that is known as what? That is known as pollen grain. Clear? So from the anther, now you have to know this one. From where pollen grain is produced? Then from the anther. And where do we find this anther? We find this anther in the stamen, okay? Now, with the help of the wind or with the help of some birds or bees, this pollen, okay, this pollen is transferred to this stigma, female part, okay. The transfer of pollen from anther to stigma takes place with the help of the wind, okay, by wind or some birds also, okay, with the help of birds. Now, once this powder gets like transferred to this stigma, then it will go inside here, then suddenly after some time it will go down here, and once it reaches the ovary, okay, once it reaches the ovary, this ovary will swell, okay, it will swell, and then this becomes what? This becomes, after some time, it becomes a fruit, okay, fruit. And then inside the ovary you'll get ovules, okay. These ovules are bead-like structure. Bead-like structure, okay? Bead-like structure. So inside the ovary, you'll get ovules. And see, after this powder, that is pollen grain, is transferred to this stigma, then after some time, when it reaches this ovary will swell, okay? It will become big, and then it will turn into fruits. And then ovule, which we are saying that it's a bead-like structure, this is the seed, okay? Ovules means the seeds, and ovary means the fruits, okay? So this comes to the end of the first three part, and the leaves, okay? These leaves will continue in the next class. So make note of all these points and go through this, whatever we have discussed in today's class, okay? So thank you so much, students. See you in the next class.